This channel is made possible by viewers like you. My viewers, subscribers, and patrons greatly help to keep this channel going. I wouldn't be here today if it wasn't for all of you. Please make sure to subscribe so you don't miss any uploads. And if you'd like to go the extra mile, please check out my Patreon page. For just $1 a month, you'll get access to what I'm working on, previews of upcoming content, and even early videos, along with other tier options for those that are interested. Thank you, and now on to the video. So I made a video discussing some of the comments made by critics for Rogue City. Some even came from favorable reviews, but some of their remarks seemed a bit uninformed, or at least just bad takes on the game. And since you all enjoyed that one, I wanted to see if there were any more comments and opinions worth diving into, because while games journalists and critics are generally not very good at their job, they can at least provide some entertainment value with their silly opinions and agendas. So the first one up, I wanted to discuss Forbes. Something I really didn't like, even for the favorable reviews of Robocop, is this through line that people seem to think this game should have been bad, or they are extremely surprised that Robocop Rogue City turned out to be entertaining at all. As the reviewer says from Forbes, that even with Rogue City's early elements, you'd be forgiven in thinking that this game would be terrible because of some of the minimal facial movements while characters are talking, some poor lip syncing, and some faces that are expressionless. This seemed like a lot of nitpicking to try and paint a picture that the game starts out bad, or imply the game doesn't really take the best first step. Now, even as a fan, I can admit that there is stuff like this in the game. I think much of it comes down to the budget. This is not a big bloated AAA game. This is more in line with a AA experience. So sure, there is roughness in spots and areas that could use some more visual fidelity to be seen, but the developers put their money into the most important things, to really capture the consistency from the films. Now, as a counter to this reviewer, I really like how the game started, even before we get to the first big shooting sequence. The news broadcast is very similar to how the first movie starts. We get a nice mixture of world building and satire, along with the surprise and subversion of the news station being attacked. Following this, Robocop enters the scene, and we get to see how the people of this world and his colleagues view him, along with meeting Lewis. So while some of the mouths may not be the most expressive, Robocop himself has a lot of appreciated details, along with Lewis too. The model looks very similar to the actress. Plus, just the model for Robocop is impressive. Little things like this show me the developers care, and it annoys me when other critics try to just wave this game off as silly fun, rather than the labor of love it truly is. Rogue City is just a good piece of entertainment. Slant's review kinda goes hand in hand with some of the comments I looked at with Eurogamer's review. Slant goes out of its way that they honestly don't like that Rogue City portrays the cops as the good guys within the narrative. They say that Robocop misses the opportunity to make any sort of commentary on police violence and militarization, along with the game's efforts to present the cops as a force of good. This is where the agenda lies with some of these journalists. I think that Robocop, the game and the film, do comment on many different things. The news and corporate satire very much shows how we are living in the world of Robocop right now. It also calls into question the dangers of having your police force and honestly everything within a city owned by a corporation, essentially playing by different rules. And then with Rogue City with the robots that enter the picture later on. Both the films and game tackle a bunch of stuff and have interesting bits of commentary weaved within its science fiction. It is interesting and gives us all something to think and discuss about. For the purposes of this story, it makes sense to have the cops viewed as a force of good, and put the tension on other things, along with the corporation being seen as evil and manipulative. But when you read between the lines with the journalist's comments, like taking issue with the cops being a force for good, this stuff gets really annoying. I understand that many of these people, to get their social media checkpoints, you need to blame or demonize the cops. I don't agree with that at all. I generally think that they are good and trying to do a job to provide for their family, and when bad actors are found, you need to handle those situations. But to make a blanket statement on cops being bad, or that the story is not as good as it could be, I think the developers were trying, and rightfully so, to be as consistent as possible to the source material, without infecting it with any modern current day crap. Because lately when modern entertainment does that, it instantly dates that piece of entertainment for the worse. Many modern writers seem to struggle with presenting interesting social commentary in their entertainment. They get all wrapped up within the message that they are trying to present. A video game is a piece of entertainment. It needs to entertain. Failing to do so hurts the project. Taeon, the developer of Rogue City, made sure that entertainment came first. That's why us fans love it. And just for fun, I thought I'd take a look at the lowest critic review as of writing this on Metacritic. This is by the Daily Star, and they complain about the slow movement, smallness to the open world sections, and cliched bad guys that you fight. When I see comments like this, it tells me you have no background or knowledge of the source material, and are honestly just trying to take the easy way out, at attacking things that were clearly designed that way to respect the source material, or you are ignoring the AA nature of the entire game. This review very much reminds me of the reviews that I read with Terminator Resistance when it came out. Robocop's slow movement is actually something that I really like seeing within this game. The way he is presented with the films is that he moves with this herky-jerky kind of way. Robocop is not agile at all. He is a tank, and it takes a lot of moving parts to get his impressive tech to move at all. Taeon did a good job at conveying the movement that we all saw within the films, and then presenting that to the player, but not at the detriment of the entertainment value. Yes, Robocop does move slower than other first-person shooters. You can sprint and even dash as you level that up, but the overall movement here is slower. It feels like you can move at a fast walk for most of the game, and it seems like all of this was in mind when making it as well, because I never felt like just moving around as Robocop was a chore. Instead, it honestly just felt like I was controlling him. The same goes for your other movement options, or lack of them. For example, Robocop cannot crouch under cover, or go prone, or even jump or vault over objects. This is all done in service to put you in the shoes of our hero, and be consistent with the world that was established within the films. As a counter to the open world stuff, I actually prefer the smallness, as the reviewer states. They think that is bad. In an industry where many big games come out and they are honestly way too long in areas and bloated, it's refreshing to play a title that offers some openness, while also not having it be too much. Rogue City allows the game to breathe from the intense shooting, with the enjoyable open world sections. The game provides the player with 3 of these. It is the same map that you revisit at different times of the day, with new missions to find and discover. Little things that are baked into how it was made makes it rather enjoyable. For example, the exploration is satisfying since the game doesn't just spoon-feed you your side quests. You need to actually go out and discover them for yourself. So much so, I actually missed 2 of them the first time I went through the game. On top of this, the side investigations provide some of the best story beats, with some of them not even featuring any shooting, and it mostly relies on the detective aspect and the writing of the narrative. One of my favorites dealt with Robocop and an informant helping a young boy comprehend his father's tough job as a cop. Stuff like this really brings out the humanity to Robocop, along with providing side content that is not checkbox type stuff, or filler content, but rather meaningful episodic content that complements the main narrative, its characters, and the world as a whole. The Daily Star's review felt like a review that completely missed the mark, and honestly reeked of someone who just had no interest in playing this game, but was assigned to do so to get a review up on the website. Stuff like this makes me question why Metacritic holds any weight at all. I'm completely fine with different opinions, but the lack of elaboration or understanding of the source material hurts much of those comments. Like I said at the start, I thought it would be fun to see what some of the other journalists and critics were saying about this game. It's nice that Robocop did see some fair scores from critics, but more importantly, Rogue City is getting very high user reviews. Pleasing the fans and hopefully selling well are the 2 most important things here. Rogue City really does deliver, as a big fan of this character, and it shows that the developers actually cared about what they wanted to do here, as they delivered something both fun and special. I really want this to sell well for the developer. We need more games like this out there, ones that are just focused on providing true escapism and good entertainment. And it doesn't hurt either that they managed to revive an older IP and give it the respect it deserves. What are your thoughts on Rogue City? Do you think the critics were right or wrong on this one? Let me know all your thoughts down in the comments. If you're interested in being notified of new videos, please hit the subscribe button and bell. And if you would like to support the channel and get early access to content, please check out my Patreon. All of the links will be at the end of this video and within the description. And thank you very much for watching.